Hello everybody, Carrie Schmidt House. Today we're going to be cooking. Had a couple of deer heart in the freezer from the deer season, and Andrea wanted to have deer heart. So I've been making deer heart my whole life. My mother always made it. I've done it countless times, and every time I make it, I do it different. There's no right or wrong way. Just do it how you do it. I'm just going to fry this up today, maybe with some onions, and then add some, maybe a can of tomatoes and green chilies and a little gravy in there and broth and flour, and thicken it up. And I'm going to make some homemade tortillas. We'll eat this stuff on tortillas. So first I'm gonna make some homemade tortillas. The homemade tortillas are easy to make, so much better than the ones you buy at the store. So that's what we're going to be doing first here. So we got our mixer here, ready, mixer pot, and I'm going to dump 4 cups all-purpose flour. I dump it straight in here, and I mean, you can sift it if you want to. I don't see the need for it. We're going to put some salt with that. We're going to put a couple of teaspoons of salt. If you like a little more salt, I guess you could add a little more. I don't know. I usually do a half batch. Today I'm doing a double, so this will make probably about 12, 14 tortillas. Usually I make a half batch and it'll make about 6. But I think we're gonna want a little bit more than that today. And I put in a couple of tablespoons of this avocado oil, or you can use lard. Actually, I'm going to put in, I believe 4 tablespoons. So that, and I've got about 10 ounces of warm water. Dump it all in there. Put it in my mixer. Plug it in. We'll mix it all up. And you don't need a mixer. You can mix it by hand. This stuff's easy enough to do. But I have a mixer. Thanks to my wonderful wife who got it for me. So I'm going to use it. And this dough isn't super wet. It's a little drier. But it works good. Throw down a little flour on our cutting board here. Hope you can see that. Sorry guys, I dropped y'all into the mixer. I try to make kind of a log. To be honest with you, I've never made a double batch. Usually just make 6. And it's pretty easy to make 6. Gotta cut that in half. See, cut this into 6 pieces. Cut that in half. We just make little balls out of them. Okay, now we need to cover these and just let them rest for a while. So I'll do that and gonna let them rest for 15-20 minutes. And then we'll come roll them out, put them in a pan and cook them. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, we let our tortillas rest, our tortilla balls or dough balls. Heating up our pan right now. And we're gonna try to roll these out. And I'm not very good at it. They're not perfectly round, but they do work. It was kind of a small one because it was the last one I cut off, and it was a little bit small. That's okay. Let's just make it a little thinner. Okay. Cook them, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes on one side. And flip them over. Not quite as long as the other side usually. Depends on how hot the pan is. Don't want it too hot. They'll get burnt on the outside and still be raw in the middle. So looking good. You're getting those little dark brown spots on it. That's what you want. They start to puff up a little bit. This one's not doing that. Might have it a little bit thick. This one feels a little thick. Oh, there we go. Starting to puff up. There you go. That's pretty much it. On a plate here, and I'll do 11 more of them. I'll do 11 more of them, and I'm not gonna bore you with all that, and bring you back when I'm done with the tortillas. Okay, we got our tortillas finished up earlier. Just wrapped them up in some foil, and now we're ready to start with our heart. I'm gonna have to cut them up, clean them up a little bit, clean up some of the fatty stuff on them, cut them up, and then we'll be ready to. Then I'll start chop an onion, and then we'll be ready to throw it in the pan. We got some of this fatty stuff on here. We want to take some of that off of there. You know, a little bit doesn't bother me. But I try to take most of it off. Sometimes I just cut it in long little pieces like that. But today I'm going to cube it up a little bit, since we're going to be eating it on tacos. A lot of people don't like heart, but it's really good if it's prepared right. Very healthy. It seems to me a huge waste when people just throw it away. They gut their deer and they just throw it out there with the guts. Waste it. Terrible. Roll this out, give it to the chickens. Okay, rinse this off. Cut it brown. Now we're taking an onion, chop it up. Probably use half of it. Don't need a whole onion on this. Got me some lard. I'm gonna put a little lard in the pan. This heart's real lean, so it doesn't have a whole lot of fat in it. Put a little something in there. Like I say, every time I make heart, I make it different. I don't remember how I did it the last time. But that's cooking. You know, you just do what looks good at the moment. You don't have to, nothing's an absolute recipe. Once you get it kind of cooked, you can taste it and adjust your seasonings. When I put the meat in there, I'm going to put a little salt and pepper on it, and that's about it. When the meat's almost done, I'll throw the onions in there. I've got this can of Rotel. I'm going to throw that in there. And then I'll probably add a little bit of cumin at that time. Probably like a teaspoon. Doesn't take a whole lot. If you put too much ground cumin, it's overwhelming. I'll add also some garlic powder. A couple of cloves of garlic, which probably what I'll use. I've got some minced garlic. Throw a couple of cloves in there. Starting to get a little smoke there coming off the pan. When I turn it down. I don't know, a lot of people say you should never put cast iron on high, but I always keep mine on high until it gets good and hot. It's hot, and I turn it down, and it'll hold its heat really well. This is the same pan I did the tortillas in. I didn't even rinse it, wash it, or anything. Don't need to. Might have been a little too much lard, but if it's too much, we can drain some off. You guys over here, a little better view. I want you ladies checking out my legs too much. And you're liable to get upset about that. I'll just put a little salt on there. That's a whole lot on my pepper. I do like pepper though. Pull me up a chair. I have a lot of back problems. Can't stand for too long. Back starts hurting. This heart, you don't want to like sear the meat. You want to cook it a little slower. It's basically just muscle. You want to cook it a little slower. It just seems to tender up better the slower you cook it. It's making quite a bit of juice. Generally, I just do one heart at a time, but Andrew told me to do both of them. These are the hearts that she took from the 2 deer she harvested this year. You can go back and look at the videos on those if you want. She videoed both those hunts. And you can see this heart beating this last beat. One thing I've never done is deer liver. I've never done that. I know a lot of people do. And I like calf liver. Never done deer liver. We'll have to try that once. Because it's edible and it's good. It's a waste just to throw it out there for the raccoons and predators. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put the onions in there. It's probably close enough. I'm going to go ahead and put my garlic in here. A good teaspoonful in there. I'm going to cover this for a few minutes. Make sure everything gets cooked. Okay, now that our stuff onions look pretty well cooked and translucent, I'm going to take some flour and put it in here. For a gravy, kind of a base. I'm going to put probably 2 good tablespoons in here. Just a little bit more. I always put more than I should. I have to add more water. That's okay. Stir that in there. Turn it up just a little bit. It's already super thick. That's already soaked up all the little bit of juice we had in there. Turn that way down to low. Well, folks, I screwed up. Ran out of storage space on my phone, so I'm sitting here yakking and talking, and my phone's not recording. So I missed part of this. So basically what I did was, after we added the flour and started in, put in the can of tomato and green chilies, and I had a little half-pint jar full of turkey broth frozen in the freezer I saved. I put that in here, which you could just use bouillon cube chicken. And then I added about 2 cups of water. Stirred it up. And now we're just going to let that sit here and cook for probably an hour. Let it reduce down. And then after about an hour, if it's still not to the consistency that we want, then we'll just take the lid off and let it continue simmering until it gets down to the thickness that we want for our tacos. You know, still got a lot to learn with this YouTube stuff. We got started with this stuff about a year ago and doing the YouTube thing. Not really knowing what we're doing. I'd been watching other people, other videos a little bit. One thing I noticed about most of those real successful channels, A lot of those guys are big talkers. They like to hear themselves talk, which is a good thing, you know. Not knocking them, but they love to talk, and I'm not a big talker, nor is my wife, so I'm having to learn to talk more. Uh, Main reason we started this is because we wanted to save some of the things we do and record them for our children, for the two little ones when they grow up. We're getting older. I'm getting older. Won't be here too much longer. And I know I wish my parents were around after I grew up. After I lost them, then always things came up. Wanted to ask mom about, wanted to ask dad about, and they weren't here no more. And my three older ones, they don't come around much at all anymore. But one of these days they're gonna be in that same situation where they might want to ask me about something. I'm not here anymore. Or we're saving all these videos on little hard drives. They can go back and look at it then. You know, really enjoy doing this though. The more I do it, you know, more I'm talking, and maybe I'm getting better, I hope. But you know, nobody's letting me know anything. I haven't had any negative comments, but I haven't had hardly any comments at all. You know, we don't have a lot of subscribers, but those of you that are subscribing, if you're watching, give us a comment. Let us know how we're doing, if something we can improve, something you'd rather see. We don't actually just make up content. We just film kind of our ordinary, what we're doing. You know, we're not well, let's pretend we're doing this. And you know, we actually had some deer heart in the refrigerator, in the freezer. We wanted to cook them, and I thought, well, a lot of people don't know how to do that. A lot of people just throw it away and waste it. That's really a waste. So if there's hunters out there who just throw theirs away, and you've never had it cooked right, heck, try this. Try it. You'll like it. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off for now, because it's going to have to cook for, like, say, an hour. And we'll come back, bring you back when we're a little closer. Okay, so our deer heart's been cooking for about an hour. And it's not the consistency yet that we want. It is looking really good. It is smelling real good, but it's still too thin. And we want it to be thicker. So we're going to take the lid off now and continue cooking it down so it gets the thickness we want. And then it'll be ready to eat. Sorry guys, we're fogging you up. Smells really good. And generally I put too much flour, and at this point it's way too thick, but I think this is going to work good. Turn it up a little bit. And also, I forgot to mention a while ago, before I put the lid on it, I forgot to mention the cumin. So I added a heaping teaspoon of cumin. Generally, if I do one heart, I'll do 1 teaspoon. But since I did 2, I still did 1 teaspoon, but I just heaped it up, put a little extra, because you got to be real careful with the cumin. It can be overwhelming. So, but this smells great. I haven't tried any of the broth or the juice yet. See what it tastes like. May have to add some salt or pepper, but we can do that later. We'll put it on the taco. Like I say, we're gonna have jalapenos with it, but can't put them in here. Okay, we'll bring you back when it gets a little closer. At this stage, you really got to be patient. It smells good and you want to eat it, but you want to let it cook down a little bit more. That gravy really thickened up. A lot of the water cooked off of it. Just left with the good stuff. You make a taco, it works better. You don't have all the juice running off your taco. We're going to let this cook just a little bit more, and then we'll plate some up, make a taco. So if you enjoyed this video, try it out. You can serve this over rice if you want, or mashed potatoes, or on the side with, you know, beans and rice. It's basically like a carne asada, just using heart. But if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing if you're not a subscriber. Like our video, it helps us out. And as always, God bless. Have a wonderful rest of your day or evening or whatever you happen to be doing.